Maybe at the disaster scene, maybe in that shattered commuter bus, there may be an explanation for what went so terribly wrong yesterday. Crash investigators are there at the scene and have been through the night, scouring for clues, piecing together what happened, working to recover the so-called black boxes, the event recorders in both the train and the bus that could hold the answers to the crash that has left 6 people dead and 34 people hurt, some of them critically. You're looking there at the scene. A live look this morning, the level crossing in Barrhaven, that's an Ottawa suburb about 20 kilometers from downtown. And it was there on this place, a packed commuter bus slammed into the side of a Via passenger train just before 9 o'clock yesterday morning. Hannah Thibodeau is at that very level crossing. She has been on the story since it began, covering it for us all through, and there she is at the scene. And Hannah, we can see a little bit behind you. We can see the train still on the location. Let's begin, if you could, situate the scene there for us this morning, this hour, and what is happening there as far as the investigation goes.
Right, Heather, you can see the train behind me. I'm about a few hundred meters away from the station where this train was actually to arrive yesterday. Behind the train, a few hundred meters, is the crossing where the bus hit that train, or the train hit that bus. They're still trying to determine which occurred. Now, the Transportation Safety Board investigators have been on site here all evening. There were 11 of them looking into this. They did take a break in the evening, and they were back bright and early this morning. They had big floodlights on the scene. The bus is still on the scene. However, the road that it occurred on is open. The police are directing traffic around that bus. And in fact, late last night, our photographer got some pictures of them cutting pieces of the bus to actually get in, and eventually they will remove that. And the train is now back on the tracks as well. It's a little bit closer to us. They're moving closer to getting these tracks reopened. But before they do, the investigators have to gather quite a bit of information. First off, they have to get that event box. It's an orange box. We call it a black box because many people are more familiar with that word. And what they'll do is they'll take that off the train. It'll take a couple of hours to download that information. Then once that information is downloaded, the big thing is to start analyzing it. Our French colleagues spoke with the Transportation Safety Board investigator this morning. They said it could take up to a year to complete this investigation, and there's lots to be completed. Take a listen to one Transportation Safety Board investigator yesterday.
We will be assessing the crossing, its design, and the sight lines. We'll be checking the warning systems and the gates at the crossing to ensure they were functioning correctly. We'll be retrieving, downloading, and examining the data from the locomotive event recorder, as well as from other recording devices that might be available.
So that is the investigation part to this hour, Hannah. Let us turn to the victims in this. 6 people dead, 3 have been identified, but only one, his name has been made public, and that's the driver, Dave Woodard. What are we learning about him, Hannah?
45-year-old OC Transpo driver Dave Woodard, family. He had a wife and a daughter. In fact, he just celebrated his wife's birthday the day before the accident. He died on the scene here, and we're hearing from a lot of his colleagues saying he was a really good worker, always working hard, had been on this an OC Transpo driver for over 10 years, had driven this route in the past. However, there are some OC Transpo drivers who had concerns about this crossing. Take a listen.
I can't think of any reason why it happened, but I know when they built that transitway, I did question myself, why are they putting a railway crossing across the transitway where other places like the South Keys, there's an underpass, so the buses and the trains never have a chance to collide.
Now, one of the big questions that investigators are looking into is whether Dave Woodard, the driver of the OC Transpo bus, applied the brakes. There's conflicting eyewitness testimony to this fact. Some say the gates were down, the lights were flashing, and they hollered to the driver to stop. Some felt the brakes applied at the last minute. Others say they didn't feel the brakes applied at all. Once they get that box, the black box, or technically an orange box, from the train, also a box from the bus, they're going to be able to identify the speed of the vehicles and also whether the brakes were applied. And that's one of the big questions that investigators are looking at.
That's right, that data and, as you say, witness accounts, so crucial to the Transportation Safety Board investigators doing their job there. Thank you, Hannah. We'll speak with you in just a matter of minutes.
Welcome.
Hannah's going to stay on the scene for us all morning long.